Starlight here, and welcome to day 6 of Trickle Miss versus the OU tier. And before we get started, if you really like Pokemon content in general, please consider subscribing. We're almost at 50 subs. It'd be great if we could reach there. And yeah, let's get on with the battles. So here's our first matchup here. Got a pretty threatening team, especially with the Great Tusk. King Gambit definitely for sure. Potentially the Kalem too, because of the combination of Free Fly and Air Power. Very tough mod to switch into for this team. So they are mega threats. So we lead with Poppy here because I thought they would lead Great Tusk. So that's the main reason why we led with Poppy, but they decided to lead with Galarian Slowking. So let's go from here. So I instantly go for the Will-O-Wisp. Get a nice burn instantly, making our Hex do 130 damage from now on. And they do just go for the Thunder Wave. Unfortunately, we do get fully powered on the Hex, as we will click for the Hex again, as he will kill your Reception out. So very scary at the moment, because they could just really just go out to kill him. But no, decide to go to King Gambit. And I was just thinking, we'll let Poppy go down here long as we get the Will-O-Wisp off, and we do. So the King Gambit is a lot less of a threat now, which is fantastic for the team. Poppy again has been doing extremely well, even just being a Sass Belter. Very useful. And we go for Drain Punk and they go into Moltres, which is very scary. Luckily we didn't pop the Flame Body there. But I'm just considering who to really go into. We know that it most likely has Flamethrower, U-turn, as we see here, and probably Roost and Defog is the moveset. So we safely just go into Wandle here. They go back into King Gambit, and I just go straight to Echo in case they want to go for the Sucker Punch. But no, they do just decide to call out Cleave. We go for the Brain Punch again, get rid of this much threat, but they do go back into Moltres. Again, very scary. So I'm debating at this point to try to get Sword Center off, but the much safer play is just going back into our Wandle. And we just go for the U-turn on the Wandle because we haven't seen a Sucker Punch yet. And they go for the Caught Out Cleave on Echo, which is a bit unfortunate. And again, I just really want to see what we can do, but they do end up getting the crit on the Sucker Punch. Unfortunate. Don't think it really mattered on the long run there, but King Gambit is at half HP, which is fantastic. So we can just go into our Coco, our MVP. Which is fantastic. Oh, sorry about that. So we can now just go for a Talk Song. We force the Terror into Terror Dark. We should Terror Philly there, but I thought they might have predicted that. And I did not expect the Terror Dark at all. But we do take another Caught Out Cleave, and then we will just switch into predicting the Iron Head, which is fantastic because now King Gambit goes down to the burn, massive threat out the way, absolutely fantastic. And now they will just go into Moltres. I decided to let Bling go here to get some nice damage off on this Moltres because it is a massive threat. And even though we're down 3 members, we're looking quite comfortable because Coco looks fantastic wall right about now. So they just decided to U-turn out as we just go for the Slack Off as they go into Kalem. And I was just wondering what type of moveset it could really be, whether to Will-O-Wisp or not. But they end up just going to Galarian Slowking, I'm guessing, to try and get the Sludge Bar. But again, Coco's always faster, and they just go back into Moltres. Moltres does take it until 1. They end up going for the Roost. We go for another Talk Song to really pressure the opponent. Get another attack boost. Then go for the Hex yet again. Which is doing so much damage now. We end up just going for the Hex one more time. Because we are very healthy at the moment. So yeah, Coco's being so fantastic here. Such a major threat to the opponent. And I'm just wondering at this point who they go into. They do decide to end up back into Kalem. They do just go for the Freeze Fly here. So we just go for the Slack Off, and then we can just go for the Talk Song. Again, really wearing down this Kalem, which is fantastic for us. We can just go for the Slack Off again. as they will just go for the freeze ride. We get the KO now on the KLM, and Coco's looking mega threatening, which is awesome. Coco has taken down 2 members, which is honestly fantastic. They revealed their headlong rush here, and that does a lot of damage, so it really is making me think it's offensive. Even could be choice band, and just judging by that damage. Not too sure though, but they do end up getting the KO. But now at this point, Randall kinda just win from here, because we can go for a Hex, get an instant KO on the Great Tusk if they don't switch out. If they go into the Zamazenta, we can Will-O-Wisp and then start hexing away. And the Galillion Slow King's already burned, so 1 to 2 hexes should really do it. So they do end up going into Zamazenta. Again, which I'm not very worried about. Zamazenta's major threat is the body press, but because we are immune to the body press, Zamazenta doesn't really pose much of a threat at all to this team, which is fantastic. So they end up just going for 2 crunches, barely miss out on the KO. And at this point I'm a bit worried because I definitely need Randall alive for the Great Tusk. So we end up going for the U-turn here into Peach. As they do just end up going for the Switch Bomb, we can now just go for the Hex, barely takes it, and then they will end up going into Great Tusk. So at this point I'm just like, we gotta let Peach go down here, but it does so little because of the BAM, which is fantastic, and we instantly get the KO. I completely forgot about the BAM, I was just panicking at the time, at that moment, and then we get the nice Hex off for the win. Nice clean battle there. I don't think I made any misplays, and maybe should have played a bit better around that King Gambit. But it did work out great in the end, because the moment we got rid of the King Gambit and the Kale went down, Randall and Coco just looked phenomenal. Again, maybe we should have tried to get the burn on the Great Tusk first if we wanted Coco to really sweep up in there in the end. But yeah, the combination of Randall and Peach really took that well. And yeah, let's go into our next battle, which is against the Wayne team. Which again, we also against one yesterday's video too. So we have a nice power up for Goodra, Basculegion but female this time. You don't normally see too many female Basculegions in a Wayne type team. It completely lost my mind out with special attack, that would come into play later. But yeah, so I end up leading with Randall because the lead with Pelipper or Fortress is just a nice easy free Will-O-Wisp on Randall, or free Hex, or even a U-turn out. Very free Pokemon to bring in for the lead. So they do lead with Fortress, so again we just go for the Will-O-Wisp because it has Sturdy anyway. As they set up the Stealth Fox, we can now just go for the Hex, as they will just set up a couple of layer spikes. They instantly switch out to Pelipper, which I was surprised at the time because I thought they just let the Focus go down and get a nice safe free switching. We just end up going for the Dragon Dart now in case they went into their own rank pull. Didn't want to risk that. So we just instantly switch out into Poppy here, and the reason why is just get rid of most of these hazards. I'm pretty sure they want to set up a layer spikes again. But no, they end up switching out into Ogerpon, so Poppy managed to get the defog off, and then again, Poppy can always take at least 1 hit from Ogerpon because of the max defense. And just getting the burn, even though again, Poppy will go down here. Just Poppy getting rid of them entry hazards, getting the burn off, really does help the team in the long run. So now we can just go into Peach and just completely roll this mom. They end up just going for Agriculture, we can just go for the Hex. We do get the clip, which is unfortunate for the opponents, but I don't think it really mattered that much. Because Peach would have just taken 2 more Agricultures anyway, we probably just have to recover once. So we end up getting the KO on the Ogerpon, which is fantastic. They bring back in Pelipper, and I decide to stay in with Peach here to try get that Toxic off on the Pelipper. Because the quicker we can get rid of the Pelipper, the quicker speed control we have. They go into Bascuda here, so this is where we just decide to Telewater to completely wall this mom and go for the recover. So now we can just go for the Malignant Chain again, as they will just opt to go into Fortress. We just go for the Hex, so we don't have to worry about any entry hazards. And we still have our disguise on Echo, which is fantastic. We still have our choice scarf as well with our bling. So yeah, they decided to go into Basket Legion here, which does make sense. I completely forgot it was the female and not the male. So I made Peach take unnecessary damage there, and it didn't really matter the end result. But it was a definitely misplay. I should have just went straight into Echo, go for at least 1 to 2 Shadow Sneaks, and then see where I can go from there. So they end up just going back into Bella Scooter, and I'm debating to let Echo go down so Peach can just come in for free, get that nice free recover off, and just completely roll this mon, go for a mini-legged chain. And yeah, they end up forfeiting right there. Right at the end right there. Did not realise it cut that down so quickly. But yeah, our opponent does end up forfeiting there. Which again is very unfortunate, because it would have given us more KOs in long run. But yeah, we definitely had this game wrapped up. Again, I think the only misplay I really had was letting Peach take that Basket League damage. But then again, I'm not too sure. Only because of the combination of Hex and the Shadow Sneak that we might take that Basket Legion out. If we just went straight into Echo, then Echo would have died to another Shadow Ball after the Shadow Sneak, which would have brought us down to half, and then we would rather bring in Peach anyway. So I don't think it was that much of a misplay. But yeah, they unfortunately do decide to forfeit here. So let's just go into the next game now. And here's our next game up here. We have a pretty deadly team with a Pelipper, definitely a choice specs, because this is definitely not a rain team. The only synergy with the rain is the Ogre. The Water Moon, such a massive threat, same with the Goldango. So again, we lead off with Wandle, pretty safe lead, can get some momentum off. And I think this is one of the first misplays that I do. I just say, oh no. So we do just end up, they do just end up going to Tatooine, and they reveal the eject button, which is a bit scary, and they just go back into Pelipper here. And this is where I definitely misplayed by staying in on the Pelipper. Randall would have been so helpful for later on in the match. Regret doing that. So we end up just going to Blink, go for a nice Shadow Ball, and can nearly hit everything for good damage. We end up going for the Shadow Ball. We do get the quit, which is unfortunate for our opponent, and we do take the Gamora down, but now they know it's choice scarf. They bring in the Roaring Moon, which is again such a terrifying threat to the team. So just debating what to do. We let Poppy go down here just to get some nice aftermath damage off, and then we just go into Echo here, and we just go for the Play Wolf as they go for the Terrifying. And I think this is where the next misplay lies here. So we go for the Play Wolf. We know that they go for acrobatics at this point. Instead of Shadow Sneaking there, we should have switched out into Bling. We would have been faster thanks to choice scarf, go for a nice Shadow Ball, and Echo would have still been around. So I made a big misplay right there. So we end up going for the Shadow Ball and get the KO. And now they bring in the Ogre, which is again very terrifying. We bring in Peach to take on the Ogre. They do end up getting the crit, which is unfortunate. Debating on terrestrializing here, but knowing that they could also go for the grass super effective move, the Power Whip or the Horn Leech. Didn't want to risk it, and now they go into their own Goldango, which is very, very scary. Because I want Peach around, and unfortunately I decided to go into Blink here, which I think is another misplay. Because I didn't consider in hindsight that the Pelipper can now just come in. If that is choice specs, we just lose immediately after this Terror, after this Thork Chunk. So they do end up going for the Shadow Ball. Thankfully they didn't predict the Terror fairly right there, so we do take the Goldango down. But now they just bring back in the Pelipper, and yep, they reveal Weather Ball, instant KO. Just another Weather Ball, instant KO. We could have also saved the Terror right there for Peach instead. But again, I think it will end up in the same result because they can just switch the power out, bring it back in, go for the Hurricane. I think the biggest misplay I had during that match, oh pardon me, was definitely letting the Randall go down a bit too early there. Also, I should have instantly switched out from Echo in to bring predicting the acrobatics. They're the two misplays in there. Our fortunate, our first loss. We're 2-1 right now, so not a bad ratio. And here's our next team. So we've just against a rain team and then a power pair that also brings out the rain as well. And now we're against a sun team here, and the massive threat, Walking Awake. I just noticed it during this battle how massive threat Walking Awake is to this team, especially under the sun. Obviously, a Great Tusk, also a major threat, and same with the Masquerada. So a lot of big threats here. We do decide to lead off with Coco, predicting that Coco lead to bring a better talk song pressure onto the opponent. And they just instantly switch out into Walking Awake, which doesn't make sense. So I actually stay in right here to scout what move they will go for. Because if they go for the High Ghost team, we could always just switch into Randall. And getting that real risk buff can just help in the long run with Hexes. So they do reveal the High Ghost team. And then we will just go into Randall. But didn't realise how much we still take from the High Ghost team. So it definitely is to respect as well. So very, very scary. So we end up just going into Echo here, hoping that they stay in, so we can get rid of this major threat. They do end up staying in, which is fantastic because they do want to break out of disguise. Does make a lot of sense, and we instantly get the KO on the Walking Awake, a massive threat out the way. Unfortunately, that we had to let Randall go right there, but I think it was worth it in the long run. So now they bring in Masquerada, and I'm just predicting them to just go for a knockoff. And they do just go for a knockoff. Could be Choice Band, could be Choice Scarf. So I'm just thinking in my head that maybe Coco can take the knockoff here, because we are resisted, we're still at 30%, and we do, which is fantastic. We get the slack off now. We try just go for slack off nice again, just to get that nice recovery all the way back. And they just go into Goodra Slow King, predicting the Suction Bomb. We just go straight into Bring. And then it just gives us a free chance to Shadow Ball. They bring back in the Torkoal, which is fantastic. Getting some nice damage off on this Torkoal. The quicker we can take the Torkoal down, the quicker the less threat to Sui and Lily becomes, the less threat the Great Tusk becomes as well. So we end up getting down the Torkoal, which is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And we're looking in a pretty decent spot. But I'm very, very, very worried about that Great Tusk. Especially with post-resistance attack, I don't know how much Poppy will be taken. But they end up going to Galarian Slowking. I think this confirms to me that it was Flamethrower. But no, it ends up being wearable, and we do take it, which does mean it is very, very specially defensive. So we just go for another Shadow Ball, try to get this Slowking low as possible. I think at this point it's fine for Bring to go down because we do have Coco that can ward the majority of the team. They end up going into Great Tusk, and it is post-resistance attack, which is very scary. So we instantly switch out into Poppy, hoping that they don't predict, and they don't because they definitely want some damage off on Coco. So now we can just go for the Will-O-Wisp and really, really make this not such a giant threat. We do take the Ice Spinner, not too well, but we do take it, which is fantastic. We end up going for Strength Sap just in case, and they do end up switching out, which is fantastic. So Poppy is still nice and around. I think I make a bit of a misplay here by just going into Peach. I should have just stayed in with Poppy and went for the Will-O-Wisp again, just so we can get the bin on the Galarian Slowking. So we just go back into Poppy on the Great Tusk. We can just go for Strength Sap yet again, get back to near full HP, which is honestly fantastic. Now we go for the Will-O-Wisp here. Again, because the more Will-O-Wisp mons we get, the better it becomes. But unfortunately, we missed the Will-O-Wisp. They do just end up going for a Future Sight, and then they bring out Great Tusk. So it will miss a bit today as well with Poppy this time. The leading of Willow Mist at the moment is Randall. Then I think it's Coco, and now it's Poppy as well. But yeah, Randall's in the lead for Willow Mist. But yeah, we end up just getting rid of Great Tusk instantly. They bring in Masquerada, and I'm thinking, should I stay in and let Poppy go down? But I think it's a bit too useful. They do end up going for the U-turn, maybe predicting the switch out right there. Instead of going for the knockoff, they will just go into Slow King. So we end up just going to peak, predicting the Sludge Bomb, and then going for the passing shot. So the reason why is to try bring in Poppy as safely as possible, because Poppy can roll the rest of this team if we get the Will-O-Wisp off. So we do just end up going back into Poppy. They do just go for the Focusite. We end up just going for the Will-O-Wisp because of the switch out. It's great as well because the last two are physical attackers. So they end up just going for the Sludge Bomb here. We end up just going for the Hex to get nice damage off and let Poppy go down at this point. But again, Poppy deserves such an amazing role right there. Did such an amazing job. And yeah, Poppy takes the Focusite damage. But at this point, Coco and Peach, especially Peach now, looks phenomenal. Peach can easily take some choice bands from the Masquerada. Choice band knockoffs from the Masquerada. So we end up just going for the middle of the chain, knowing that we can take the knockoffs and then just recover. So they do end up going for the knockoff, just 43. So it definitely makes me think it's more choice off than it was choice band. We get the toxic off, which is fantastic as well, and the confusion, which means it's just a nice free recover. As they do just want to go back into the Slow King, we can just go for the Hex, because the only thing the Slow King can do to us is the Focusite, which does take to the 3 turns as well. At which any point we can bring in Coco, because Coco is not as useful now because just how defensive Peak is. We predict the switch out here into the Masquerada, and luckily it paid off. So they've just got the Syrian Lilligan, which they do go into now. So I think, okay, I need to stay in here because we can get this Mon KO'd. Coco can just finish the battle off. They end up just going for the triple attack Axel. Unfortunately, they only hit twice for them, and Peach survives Focusite on 2%. Then we can just go for the Hex for the instant, not the instant KO, but they end up just going for Focusite, which was a bit of a misplay on the opponent, and they do end up forfeiting. So again, really close battle. I think I played that pretty well. Didn't see any clear misplays, but let me know in the comments if you noticed any. And let's go into, I believe this is our 5th battle. We get 3 wins and 1 loss so far. So we're against this team, which is very scary. Yeah, again, not only the Roaring Moon's a massive threat, the Skeldurge and the Petrons are also massive threats. Plus the ability that they can potentially stick web here. Very scary. So we're going to bring predicting the Rabombi lead, but they end up leading Roaring Moon, and I think I make my first misplay here. I should telefight him to instantly get the KO on this mom. And unfortunately we lose Spring straight away. So our early other mon that is faster than the Roaring Moon is now Randall. So we end up just going for the U-turn here, predicting the switch out. I think they would want to preserve the Roaring Moon, given our team is Mono Ghost, and they do end up just going into Hitmontop. We could also went for Will-O-Wisp there, so I'm just thinking who to really just go into. And I decided to just go into Echo, because Echo can take any type of hit, so we can just get the play wolf off. But what really surprised me is that we didn't see the Intimidate on the Hitmontop. And we do go for the play wolf. We unfortunately for our opponent get the critical hit. I don't know if that mattered or not. I don't know if it was offensive or defensive. Seemed a bit more offensive to me, but really just not too sure. So they bring in the massive threat, which is Petromon. And I really want to keep Echo's Disguise. So we end up going into Iron Peak, predicting the Malignant Chain. Then we can just Passing Shot to try to get some momentum, and hopefully they switch out too. So that was my prediction during all this. As they reveal Nasty Pot, so I'm very scared right now. So I believe we do end up going into Randall, which I think this was a massive misplay. I should have just went straight into Coco here. This was such a massive misplay because now the Roaring Moon can really just finish our team off. Or even potentially the Ogre Pond, potentially what set it is as well. So very, very scary. So we end up just going to Coco anyway, which we should have went into in the first place. Because even if it got the Toxic and the Confusion off, it doesn't really matter too much. And we tell it here to try get rid of this mob. Again, I think this is another misplay I made, because if we kept Randall alive, we could have just went into Echo here. Get rid of to get rid of the skies, we can just go for the Shadow Sneak just for a bit of damage, or even potentially try just go for the Flame Punch to see if we can take a hit. So they end up revealing Iron Head too, which is again very, very scary. Again, if we just kept Randall alive right there, and we could have just went to Echo as Deathfire, get the Shadow Sneak off, go into Randall, try for us to switch out. And they end up switching out as well, going into a Bombi, which again does make sense. The Roller Moon is such a massive threat to the team. They end up setting up the sticky webs here, which is a bit unfortunate, but not too big of a deal. I wish I realised that at the time. So now they go into Ogre and I'm just like, okay, we need to go into Poppy here. And they go for the Ivy Cudgel, and I'm like, okay, we can take another hit. And we decide to go for the Strength Sap, so we can get back to full. They end up Telewatering, unfortunately, going for the Ivy Cudgel and getting the KO on Poppy. I think the better play was they just going to Peach as well, instead of Poppy. So we decide to go for the Malignant Chain here, to try to get the Toxic off, and they can just get a free Sword Dance off. Again, very, very, very scary, and we unfortunately do not get the Toxic, and it's a 2-hit KO from here. And again, if we never got forced to tell it, if we kept Randall alive too, we could have telled our Petulant right there to take the Ivy Cudgel. But yeah, at this point, unfortunately, it is GG. Made a couple of misplays right there, still very close game. Yeah, just very, very unfortunate. Again, if we kept Randall there alive as well, we could have just went into Randall, went for the Willis. So many other plays we could have done if I didn't just let Randall go down to the Petulant right there. I was so terrified of that Petulant, and I think it overclouded my judgment, which again is very, very unfortunate. But yeah, let's go into our final game, I believe. But yeah, yes, and massive threat consuming Goodra. Again, because mainly all our mods are special attackers, and Goodra is a very, very defensive, special defensive mod. Apart from that, I'm not too worried about the rest of the members in the team. Maybe a bit of Mandibles could be a defensive threat, but I'm not too worried with the rest of the team as a whole, apart from the assuming Goodra. So we just go for the instant U-turn, because I do not want to risk Randall going down that easy. And they instantly go for the Draco, and almost one-shot Coco. So it really does make me think it's Choice Specs. So we end up going to Echo. And if they're not Choice Specs here, I thought they wouldn't want to break the disguise. So knowing that they wasn't, it's very handy information to know. End up going for the Drain Punch here, try to just get rid of the Gamora as fast as possible. They end up revealing the Mortal Spin, so unfortunately Echo's poisoned, but it's not that big of a deal. We can just go for another Drain Punch in case they want to switch out. I was thinking they might want to switch out into Mandibles, or potentially the Samazenta. So we end up just getting a nice KO. Unfortunately they do have 2 layers of Toxic Spikes now. And oh yeah, let me know as well if you think this is going to be a win or loss. Are we going to end 3-3 or 4-2? The exact reverse from yesterday. So I end up going on Peak against the Rillaboom. And I was just thinking it most likely is Choice Banded, so we go for a Poison Shot. But they revealed not to be Choice Banded, so it makes me think could be maybe a Soulfest set. A bit more defensive. So I just go into Poppy here, knowing that Poppy can take the knockoffs. You can take the Glassy Glides. They end up going for the U-turn into Mandibles, which is fantastic. Again, a ban on this mon, because the only way offensive move Mandibles normally uses is Foul Play. So getting the ban on this mon is fantastic, and we just end up going straight into Peach. So Peach can just get more recovery, not too worried about the foul play, as they end up going for a toxic, which is even more beneficial to us. We just end up going for the recover to scout how much foul play is going to do, and it does nothing. I shoulda went for the passing shot here instead of instead of going for the hex, but it worked out anyway. We decided to go into bring because it was both the stab moves, and they just go for the flash cannon here. So we end up going for the trick, and they bring in mandibles, which is such a good momentum for us, because now they just are locked into one move. We can just keep hauling shots and out, keep just being very annoying for our opponent. So we end up going back into Poppy, end up going for another Will-O-Wisp in case they want to switch out into Hisui and Goodra into the Summer Center, but they just do end up going back to the mandibles, and I just decide to just switch back out into Peach, and they predict the switch out and go into Hisui and Goodra. So we end up going back into Blink. The reason for this is predicting either Draco Meteor or the Flash Cannon. So they do end up just going straight for the Draco Meteor. We just go for the Make Away and predicting the mandibles to come in. And the mandibles does come in, which is fantastic. And then we just go for one more Make Away just to get rid of this defensive, potential defensive threat. So the mandibles goes down, which is fantastic. They end up going back into Goodra, and I was just thinking of what really to do here. So we end up going into Echo, predicting the Draco Meteor, but they do just go straight for the Flash Cannon, which is unfortunate, because if they went for the Draco Meteor, we could have potentially got the slack off on Coco. But saving a slack off for the Clefable. Clefable's prime candidate for slack off, because it's not offensive at all normally. So that's what I'm really saving Coco for right there. So we end up going into Randall, thinking that we can take a Flash Cannon and just go for Dragon Darts. They do end up just going to Clefable right there. Again, maybe Will-O-Wisp was better there, just to get our hexes a bit more powerful. And they end up going for the Thunder Wave, which is a bit scary on Coco, just because I really don't want to get fully powered. As they end up just going to Well Boom again, this is just prime time for Poppy. And then we can now just go for the Will-O-Wisp, I believe we go for, yeah. On the Clefable, even if it's not doing anything, just the fact that our hexes are now 130 base power is so crucial. So crucial. But again, I really think I made a misplay early on by risking Echo with that Flash Cannon, predicting the Draco Meteor right there. I think I should have just went into Blink, because again, very end game now. It looks a massive threat to Hisui and Goodra. So we end up just going back into Coco, as they will switch out, and unfortunately do get fully powered. Getting any bit of damage on this Hisui and Goodra at the moment would be lovely. And at this point, I really was tempted to tell them we do, as they do go for the Draco Meteor, and we get fully powered again, which was a perfect chance to get the Will-O-Wisp off. But unfortunately, we do get fully powered right there. So they end up going back into Clefable, and then they go into Boom. We get the Talk Song off, and we do get the clip. Again, very unfortunate for our opponent on that front. Now they go back into Goodra, and it just looks like 3 Flash Cannons now. So we just let Poppy go at this point, because Poppy's done the role very well. We can roll Summer Center with any type of mon on our team. So they end up going to Clefable on the Randall, and we do just decide to go for the Hex here. They will just go back into the Hisui and Goodra. Again, massive threat. We end up just going into Wing here, and at this point I think we need to let Wing go. We will just go for the Focus Blast, and we connect thankfully, and they reveal Flamethrower. Which is surprising, because now this does just give Randall another turn, and we went for Hex predicting the Clefable here, and then we can get rid of this Clefable, which means it's not such a threat to Randall anymore. And then at this point I'm thinking, okay, we can just Oko with Dragon Darts. He barely miss out on the KO. They do end up going for Draco Meteor though. So at this point we can just go into Coco, and I'm just hoping that we do not get fully powered. So they do end up going to Zamazenta in the end. We end up going for the Will-Wisp in case they do have the Heavy Slam, but they go for the Substitute. So it makes me think Substitute, Iron Defense, the Crunch, and Body Press. So we can just go for 2 more Talk Songs because it does go through the Substitute. Get another Talk Song off, and it's it's Coco versus Goodra. Unfortunately, Coco goes down, and I was hoping that Peak lives a hit, but we're faster anyway, and we get the win. Again, big misplay there for letting risking Echo like that, because Echo would have just really helped out against the Hisuian Goodra sooner. I really think I should have just went into Bring right there. Big mistake on my part. But we still managed to pull through, which is very lucky. Really close game. Tough 1-0 right there. Had some amazing battles today, and we ended up with 4-2, the exact opposite of yesterday's video, which is very surprising. I can't wait to see how we get on with our final day. The team's performing amazing at the moment, and I'll see you on the MVP screen. Come back on the MVP screen, and still our MVP is Coco with 35 KOs with only 1 more day left. I wonder the same thing with our last MVP, which was Joey the Tortella. We end up with 40 KOs, which barely missed out on our highest record being 41 KOs with our Bolt Breakers with Bakura and Kaiba both end up with 41 KOs. If Coco gets 6 more KOs in tomorrow's battles, Coco will be up in that leaderboard too. Or if Coco just gets 7, Coco is in the lead. It's such a massive defensive threat. It's a really phenomenal Pokemon overall. Definitely one of the coolest starters too. It's just so awesome. Just the defensive capabilities, the potential late game sweeps just because of Talk Song alone is honestly incredible. I'm also again very happy with Poppy. Poppy did so well today. Again, even though Poppy didn't seem like didn't do much because we didn't really get any much damage with Poppy, just the utility is amazing. The defogs with the stealth locks and spikes, the Will-Wisp, Will-Wisp and tons of max spread, Will-Wisp and the King Gambit, taking 1 course out Cleave, just honestly fantastic. Yeah, was really awesome to see. And with all that said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.